Regular laxative use is a great way to increase your risk of dementia. So if you want dementia, you just stay on laxatives for the whole rest of your life. Hi, my name is Phil. I'm with Silver Fern brand. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to explain the reality of what the science is suggesting, okay? So I'm going to give some context. My daughter at 12 years old was diagnosed with a rare pain syndrome. As part of that pain syndrome, it significantly decreased her digestive system. And as a result, she was constipated. The only thing that the doctors could tell her at that time, and probably still at this time, she was 12 at the time, now she's 21, is that she would have to be on laxatives the rest of her life. And by the way, they said that was totally fine. However, in 2023, as an example of one research study in the UK, had 500,000 plus participants. I would say that's a pretty damn big test. The research study concluded that regular use of osmotic laxatives, which includes magnesium citrate, oxide, and hydroxide, just if you're curious, so osmotic laxatives can increase the risk of dementia, all-cause dementia, by 64%. That was the outcome of the research study, okay? Now, let me also be clear. It did not show causation, it showed association. So that's also the truth. So I can't say per the research study it says osmotic laxatives were the cause, but it's definitely an association, and it's also one research study. That being said, 500,000 plus people, that's a fairly large research study, okay? So the mechanism of action for how osmotic laxatives may cause or may increase the risk of dementia was 1, because of microbiome disruption, 2, leaky gut barrier dysfunction, 3, neuroinflammatory and cognitive risk, meaning you got more inflammation around the brain and cognitive decline. I would assume that's associated with the imbalances that it may be causing in the gut barrier issues. And then last, it may be that one of the underlying mechanisms for causing the increased risk of dementia was a disruption of the gut-brain axis. By the way, a disruption of the gut-brain axis would also contribute to mood issues. So in theory, could you connect the dots and say, regular use of osmotic laxatives, could that affect mood? I think you could make that correlation as well, all right? So that's me speculating, but I think that's a fair speculation. But what are the benefits of laxatives? Well, laxatives are cheap, meaning they're inexpensive. You can get them anywhere, so super convenient, and everybody uses them, and when everybody uses something, everybody else feels comfortable using it. I think that's a fair statement. All right, but let's pretend like that study doesn't exist. Let's pretend like other studies don't exist. What we can strongly suggest with a high degree of definitive certainty is stimulant laxatives and osmotic laxatives are not helping address the underlying root cause of the problem. They're not doing that. They're basically affecting the colon. They're helping the colon have a bowel movement. The problem is, meaning they're basically causing artificial hydration. They're flooding. They're affecting the colon, and you're having a bowel movement. That being said, constipation is a sign that your digestive system is having problems, not just your colon. Okay, so typically when a person has constipation, many of these same people also have, whether they know it or not, they're having stomach issues. So slow gastric emptying, low stomach acid, or even just lower stomach acid, so more than inadequate stomach acid levels, and slow motility of the small intestine. Laxatives aren't touching those. They're not going to help the stomach. They have very little impact, if any, on the small intestine. So once again, you're just addressing the constipation in the colon. You're not addressing the underlying problem, right? Right. All right, so what do we suggest at Silver Fern brand? Well, assuming that you want to do things, you may want to try to do things effectively and correctly, and you may want to get to the root cause. Like for my daughter, I didn't want her on laxatives forever, so we developed Motility. Now, before, I'm used to people's comments. There's a lot of smart asses on social media. I'm aware of them. So before people say, so you're replacing one product with another. Laxatives are not addressing underlying root cause problems. Motility is. Motility contains 2 clinically studied ingredients that are both, by way of their mechanisms of action, going to help restore proper bowel function, digestive function in a correct way, and help you get off of products, which is not what laxatives do, all right? So Motility contains picornel artichoke leaf extract, which is an artichoke leaf extract that's roughly 5 times more effective than standard artichoke leaf extract. Lots of clinical studies, okay, for all of the people who like clinical studies, and we're obviously using it at the clinical doses. So the picornel works by way of increasing bile secretion by about 150%. Bile does three amazing things. One, it's necessary for detoxing the gut. That's why we always tell people to use Motility, and one of our protocols in step one is a pre-cleanup protocol, because we want to open the system up, unclog the system, turn it back on, make sure the migrating motor complex is flowing as it's supposed to, clearing out pathogens, and then do the cleanup. So part of that answer is picronil, the picronil in the Motility product. It's increasing bile flow. Low bile flow equals constipation. So when you help increase bile secretion, bile flow, natural bile flow, you're going to help restore regularity. And then the third thing is when you increase bile flow, you're going to help with gastric emptying, which is up in the stomach area, okay? The next ingredient is called digoxin. Digoxin is a very amazing ingredient. My wife takes it, meaning my wife can take Motility just to cover some bases. A lot of people are like, can people with gut sensitivities take it? So Motility can be taken from people that have everything from Hashimoto's and autoimmune issues all the way over to people that have allergies and stuff like that. So I forgot to say that, but that's what it is. So digoxin in Motility helps parasympathetic nervous system function. It helps gut-brain axis. So think of the parasympathetic nervous system as like the power grid of the body. Your vagus nerve is like the main power line. It's helping that. It's helping restore that function. So it's helping the gut-brain axis. Obviously, if you're helping the gut-brain axis, you're going to have a very good chance of helping improve mood and how you feel. Why? Because the gut-brain axis is going to affect that. And digoxin shows the outcomes of that in the studies. It does help with mood. It is helping significantly increase serotonin production by 30%. It's helping increase gastrin production, which is super important for digestion and for helping restore stomach acid levels. By the way, digoxin has clinical research studies. In the clinical research studies, it's helping with reflux, heartburn, stomach discomfort, constipation, and diarrhea. So is this a product, something that somebody would take if they had stomach issues, constipation, and diarrhea? The answer is yes. And then a couple other bonuses to digoxin: significantly reduces cortisol by 42%. Be mindful, stomach issues and intestinal issues are frequently caused by unhealthy stress responses, meaning stress. You're having stress, okay? So it's going to help with you to cope with stress in your intestinal system and digestive system. So the stomach included. That's how it's working. So it's reducing cortisol by up to 42%. It's also helping increase DAO enzyme production, which is super good for people that have histamine issues and frankly everybody else. Also showing to help with the stomach lining and the intestinal lining for people that are interested in those two things, which you probably should be. If you knew what they did, you would be excited about that. So that's one product. If a person needs to go, so mild is 1 bottle, 2 capsules a day. I would suggest with food, but I take it all the time without food for 60 days. If you're like stuck on laxatives and stuff like that, do the moderate to severe protocol. You're going to take 2 capsules morning and night for 90 to 120 days. The digoxin alone and the research studies show roughly a 90+% success rate over 90 to 120 days if you take the right dose to match the severity of your issue. If you have more problems and you want to go more aggressive, when you check out on Motility, please consider sensitive gut fiber. Sensitive gut fiber has solnul in it. If you start with a half a scoop and work up, by the way, both the ingredients are FODMAP friendly certified. So for people that have SIBO and IBS, if you start at a half a scoop, work up to 2 scoops a day. 2 scoops a day over 60 days shows a 66% improvement in constipation and a 59% improvement in diarrhea. So that's a great option. If you have if you have stomach issues, maybe not severe stomach issues, but you have stomach issues, please consider the Slow Motility Plus protocol. It also contains reflux, also good for the stomach and the intestinal system. And if you have major stomach issues and constipation issues and you want to go all out, do the gastric rehab kit. Instead of reflux, we have the new Reflux Pro in that, which has the research study. It has the gut guard in it for the research studies for significantly reducing H. pylori overgrowth. Also significantly helps with stomach issues and further helps with constipation issues. Those are your options if you want to do it right, in my opinion. I hope this video helps. You're welcome. Bye.